market has been chaotic in 2025, but despite this, we've actually seen a lot of green in the last week, and this is partly due to the fact that President Trump has told us that he does expect some trade deals to be completed in the next 3 to 4 weeks, but we also saw a stellar earnings report from Google's parent company, Alphabet, where they beat on top and bottom lines. And with this recent bump up in the market, my portfolio value is officially back above $200,000. And despite the recent bump up in the market over the past week, there are still certainly plenty of opportunities. In fact, I've identified 4 different dividend stocks that, based off the average analyst, have over 100% upside by the year 2029. Now you're probably thinking, what does that even mean to have 100% upside based off their price target? And to be fair, I'm typically not a huge fan of issuing price targets. A lot of analysts will issue price targets in a very reactionary way. For example, maybe a stock will have a good earnings report, sentiment around that stock will start to be positive, so an analyst will issue a bullish price target. And then the opposite of that is true as well. And obviously the image we're looking at here is a joke, but there is some truth to just how silly it can be the way some analysts calculate price targets. But what we're going to do today is very straightforward. This isn't necessarily going to be my personal price target. These are going to be price targets based on the average analyst earnings projections for 4 different stocks. And on top of this, we'll also be issuing conservative PE ratios. So in my opinion, when we look at these 4 different stocks, this isn't even going to be their best case scenario. Despite this, it still looks like they have significant upside. So let's go ahead and jump into this list. Now, the first stock we're going to be looking at is one I've been talking about pretty frequently on the channel over the last couple of months, and it's been a hot topic in the financial media, and that's Google stock. And you can see when I plug in the stock ticker, all this data is going to automatically load in, thanks to the help of the ticker data add-on in Google Sheets that allows you to automatically import stock financials straight into your spreadsheet. Link to ticker data in the description. But one of the key things we can do with ticker data is right here. We can see we have 2029 earnings per share for Google showing at $15.57. Now, what we have to understand, what we're looking at is not a single estimate from an analyst, and it's not the low end and it's not the high end. What we're doing, as you can see here with the ticker data function, is we're conglomerating multiple analyst estimates and then taking the estimated average earnings per share for the year 2029. And we come to the number $15.57, which, if we look at the 2024 earnings per share, came in at about $8.04. So that would give them a 5-year earnings per share compounded annual growth rate of 14.13%. Now let's take a moment to put this into perspective. If we go ahead and jump over to the stock screener and come up here and plug in Google, let's come over here and look at the evolution of the earnings growth for Google. Now in 2014, EPS was about $1.07, and it was a little shaky for a few years there, and then after 2017, we saw significant growth. Now, one of the things we'll notice from 2021 to 2022, there was a pretty stark decline. Now, we have to remember in 2022, we were actually by definition in a recession with 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP. And anytime we enter a bear market or recession, what happens? Marketing departments aren't willing to pay as much for ads. And a significant portion of Google's revenue is derived from advertising, so it's no surprise from 2021 to 2022 we saw a decline. But since then, we can see the overall trend has certainly been upward. And the same is certainly true with revenue per share. Now let's put this 2029 earnings per share projection into comparison to Seeking Alpha. If we go ahead and jump over to Seeking Alpha, let's go ahead and look at their analyst earnings estimates and scroll down. What we can see is by 2029, their analysts are actually even more bullish, with their earnings per share estimate coming in at about $15.86. And we're talking about pretty high growth rates for this company over the next few years, according to their analysts. Now, for the past few months, sentiment around Google has been pretty negative. And obviously the main concern is AI might start to take market share. And the reason that's such a big deal is because Google generates a significant portion of its revenue from search ads. So in this recent earnings report, everybody wanted to see what would happen with Google search advertising revenue. And look at what the company reported. Q1 of 2025, Google search revenue was up 10% year over year. So this gave investors a huge boost of confidence. And it's almost like sentiment around the stock changed overnight. On top of this, we have to remember Google is a major player in the AI race themselves. If we look at the AI leaderboards, we can see Gemini, which is Google's AI, is a major player. For example, if we look at best overall, Gemini is barely behind ChatGPT's OpenAI. If we look at best in adaptive reasoning, we can see Gemini 2.5 Pro is number 1. Come up here, if we go ahead and look at best in reasoning, we can see Gemini comes in at a very close second. In fact, I had a conversation with a software developer just the other day, and he let me know that his organization is actually switching to using Gemini to help with their software development. So yes, the AI race is a threat to Google, but Google's still a major player in this AI race. They saw beats on top and bottom lines, and on top of this, we still see that Google search revenue is growing at a double-digit rate. So let's talk about the price target for a moment. Again, what we can see is that current price is $163.83, and based on the average analyst estimate, 2029 earnings per share is projected to be $15.57. Now, in order to get our price target estimate, we have to project a 2029 PE ratio. And again, I prefer to be conservative with my projections. We can see the 4-year average PE ratio for this company is about 23.02, and the current PE ratio is a good bit lower at 20.38. Let's assume that that PE ratio doesn't recover and stays around where it's at right now. So we'll come over here and plug in 20.5. And what we can see with 2029 earnings per share at $15.57 and a 2029 PE ratio of 20.5, this would give them a price target of $319.10 by 2029, leading to a 95% total return target. In other words, a compounded annual growth rate of 14.26%, which I would say is probably likely to outperform the market. Now keep in mind, yes, this one's not technically quite at a 100x return, but just as of last week, we can see this company was trading as low as about $148 to $149 per share, and at that price point, it is clearly a 100x. Now, stock number 2 on this list is projected to grow revenues at an extremely high rate over the next 4 to 5 years, and this is actually a stock that Goldman Sachs recently put a report out on, and they said it was their top European stock with total return potential of 91% in the next 12 months. And actually, since they put out this report, the stock is down even more, and their pick was Novo Nordisk. If you look at their actual ticker, you can see they're trading about $403.50 per share in their home currency. So let's go ahead and head back over to our spreadsheet and plug in this ticker. And again, thanks to ticker data, all this will automatically load in. Ticker data does have the ability to import data on international stocks. They have access to over 70 different stock exchanges. But what we can see with Novo Nordisk, again, the current price in their home currency is about $403.50 per share. Their 5-year EPS projected compounded annual growth rate is about 14.12%, so actually very close to Google. But if we look at this stock over the past year, the sell-off has been significant. It's now down over 50% in the last year. Now, if we look at the stock actually from a dividend perspective, they now have their highest starting dividend yield in the last 5 years. And keep in mind, this is just looking at the trailing 12 months. If we look at that dividend yield on a forward-looking basis, it's close to about 3.65%. Now, with all that being said, they're down 50% for a reason. There are some concerns about Novo Nordisk as of right now. For example, the stock saw a huge sell-off just the other day after Eli Lilly jumped as oral GLP-1 drug succeeds in their phase 3 trial. Now, what does that mean? Well, we have to remember Eli Lilly is the main rival in the weight loss drug market to Novo Nordisk. And so both of these companies are competing for market share in the weight loss drug market. And while Novo Nordisk had a huge lead there for a while and was number 1 in the market, Eli Lilly does appear to be catching up. Now, here's the good news for Novo Nordisk. Some estimates see the global obesity market growing to more than $170 billion by the early 2030s. And if we get a better idea, this would actually mean they're growing at a compounded annual growth rate of 32.3%. So this market is exploding. This is one of the fastest growing markets, maybe only behind AI. Now, what this means for Novo Nordisk is even if their market share continues to decline considerably over time, there could still be major market opportunity. And so even in the midst of intense competition with Eli Lilly right now, look at the future 2025 outlook. Sales growth is expected to be 16 to 24%, and operating profit growth is expected to grow 19 to 27%. So I want to be perfectly clear, this is still a rapidly growing company. And if we look at Seeking Alpha earnings estimates, we can still see the analysts seem to agree there's going to be hyper growth. Now the big question is, what will their 2029 PE ratio look like? The 4-year average PE ratio for this company is 34.64, while the current PE ratio is down all the way to 17.85. So if we look at the stock screener and look at this company, what we can see is earnings have spiked significantly. So earnings grew considerably from 2023 to 2024, and in the middle of this, the stock declined by 50%. So this wasn't due to an earnings decline, it's simply due to the fact investors are willing to pay less for the company, which is why we have such a low PE ratio compared to the 4-year average. Now again, we're trying to be conservative with these estimates. I don't want to ever buy stocks that have their best case scenario priced in. So let's assume in the year 2029, the PE ratio is still going to be considerably lower than the 4-year average, despite revenues and earnings absolutely exploding. Let's say the PE ratio is only at 19. What we can see is the 2029 price target would be $833, and that would give them a 2029 return target of 106.63%, meaning a compounded annual growth rate of 15.62%. So again, when we don't even look at their best case scenario, it still looks like there could be significant upside. Stock number 3 is actually going to be a company I added shares of to my portfolio just the other day, and that's going to be UnitedHealth Group. So let's go ahead and drag these formulas down. And what we can see is this company is currently trading at $418.28 per share, and their 2029 earnings per share target is $47.89. Now, if we look at this stock over the last year, down by about 14.2%, and in the last month alone, down 18.66% after the largest single day sell-off in the company's history when they released their latest quarter's earnings. Now, there's a couple of different things we have to understand about this company, and in fact, over on Twitter just the other day, I wrote a pretty in-depth analysis, but there's a few key points we have to understand. The stock has a lot of negative sentiment around it at the moment, and it's really due to 3 key reasons. To start off, obviously, Brian Thompson, the CEO of UnitedHealthcare, was murdered last year, and this ended up leading to widespread criticism of the US healthcare system as a whole, and a lot of criticism of UNH in particular. Number 2, last year, UNH suffered a ransomware attack, which disrupted electronic payments and medical claims processing. And number 3, UNH on their recent earnings report missed on top and bottom lines, and they also lowered their guidance for 2025. Okay, so that's a lot to break down, and it seems like a lot of bad news, and it certainly is. So let's think about each of these issues, and what we really need to do is determine whether or not they're short-term or long-term issues. Because short-term issues for high-quality companies can end up creating phenomenal buying opportunities. So here's what we need to understand about each 3 of these. Number 1, the scrutiny against UNH and the healthcare system as a whole is making the stock sell off purely due to sentiment. Overall, massive healthcare reform in the US is pretty unlikely. Number 2, when we talk about the cyber attack, this was a one-time cost that lowered earnings per share in 2024. For example, let's go ahead and jump over to the stock screener and go ahead and plug in UNH. What we can see is earnings have grown at a high rate very predictably for the entirety of the past decade, except for in 2024 when they had the one-time cybersecurity attack. Obviously, overall, earnings were still growing, but the cyber attack ended up being pretty costly, bumping down earnings in 2024. So, for example, in their 2025 guidance, they expected earnings to be higher than 2023, so we're still trending in the right direction. And then number 3, even though management did lower their guidance for the next year, they also indicated they still expected to achieve their long-term EPS growth rate of 13 to 16%. So I do want to look at the price target, but before we do this, I also want to make it clear UNH has been a phenomenal dividend growth stock over the past decade. To start, we can see the company now has a starting dividend yield of above 2%, but here's what's interesting about this. Like Novo Nordisk, this is the company's highest starting dividend yield they've seen in the last 5 years. And on top of this, the dividend growth has just been phenomenal. And that shouldn't come as a surprise because earnings and free cash flow have grown at a very high rate. The 10-year dividend CAGR is above 16%, the 5-year 11.7%, all while maintaining a low free cash flow payout ratio for the entirety of the past decade. So this dividend growth is exactly what I want to see from the holdings in my personal portfolio. So let's talk about the price target for a moment. The 4-year average PE ratio for this company is 26.61. The current PE ratio is down all the way to 17.52. No surprise, there's been a sell-off, a lot of negative news in the last year. But most of this negative news doesn't look like it's going to impact the company long term, and management still indicated they expected to grow earnings between 13 and 16% over the next few years. Now, when we look at the 5-year EPS CAGR, it shows 25.29%. But this isn't the best representation of how fast earnings are actually going to grow, because when we look at that stock screener, again, that number is the 2024 earnings per share, which was bumped down by the one-time cybersecurity attack. If we were to make those calculations based on 2023 earnings, then the earnings per share compounded annual growth rate would look quite a bit more realistic and it'd come down. But with that being said, again, we want to price in conservative scenarios. And I think in the case of UNH, a PE ratio of 21, which is still higher than the current PE ratio, but still significantly lower than the 4-year average, is very realistic for this company, especially when you consider in a year or two, all the bad news we've seen surrounding UNH will likely not be at the forefront of the public's minds. So I think a 2029 PE ratio of 21 is completely realistic. So when I hit enter, we can see this would give them a 2029 price target of $1,005.69 per share, meaning 140.43% upside, or a compounded annual growth rate through 2029 of 19%. Again, I want to be clear, this is a stock that's way out of favor right now, but unless we see massive healthcare reform in the US, I think this is an opportunity. And then lastly, we have another company in my personal portfolio, and that's going to be ASML. And we can see analysts are projecting that this company will grow their earnings at a compounded annual growth rate over the next 5 years of above 20%. So this is a stock we're talking about explosive earnings growth. 2024 earnings per share came in at $19.24, and they're projecting by 2029 on average, it'll be $48.50. Now, if we look at the stock over the last year, this is another one that's sold off pretty significantly, down about 25%. If we look at their peak, they were trading close to $1,100 a share, all the way now down to $679. And if we look at them year to date, down about 2%, and in the last month, down by about 7%. Now, if you aren't familiar with this company, you have to understand what makes them unique. If we look at the company description, we can see they're a leading provider of lithography solution essentials for the semiconductor industry. Semiconductor. This is a quickly growing industry, and it's closely integrated with AI. And if we want to be even more specific about their products, ASML offers extreme ultraviolet lithography systems as well as deep ultraviolet lithography system, and these are used to manufacture various semiconductor nodes and technologies. Now, why is it important to understand this? Well, we have to understand their unique value proposition lies in the fact they basically have a monopoly in the EUV lithography market, which is a critical technology for producing advanced semiconductor chips. And these advanced semiconductor chips are absolutely critical for AI applications. So with ASML holding a monopoly, it's basically guaranteed there's going to continue to be very high demand for their products. And this is exactly why we see such high growth rate projections for this company, especially in the next few years. Look at Seeking Alpha analyst projections. Over the next year, expected 33% earnings growth, 15.5, 20.7, 15.5, 20% earnings growth. In fact, we can see Seeking Alpha has them at $51.84 in earnings per share by 2029. And if we look at ticker data projections, it's a little more conservative at about $48.50. On top of this, the company also recently announced a 10% share repurchase program, which we always have to remember. Anytime a company is buying back its own stock at undervaluations, it's very beneficial for shareholders. If they're buying back their own stock at overvaluation, it can actually destroy shareholder value. In their recent earnings report, they're projecting 30 to 35 billion euros in 2025 revenue, with AI-driven semiconductor demand remaining strong. So let's talk about our price target for a moment. Again, we already know earnings are expected to grow at over 20%. And companies that grow earnings at a very high rate certainly warrant a higher price to earnings multiple. So for example, the 4-year average PE ratio for this company was 38.37. You could actually argue this is justified because they were growing earnings at such a high rate. But with the recent massive sell-off, the PE ratio has jumped all the way down to 26.6. And with earnings projected to remain above 20%, a PE ratio of 30 is not actually as high as you would think. So if we apply a 30 PE ratio, what we can see is our 2029 price target would come to $1,455, and that would give us a total return target of 114% with a compounded annual growth rate of 16.47%. Now, I do want to be perfectly clear, ASML is going to be a very volatile stock over the next few years, and we've already seen this in the last year. I own this stock and I cover this stock, but I always want to warn people, there's going to be a lot of volatility. You're going to see some major price fluctuations. So if you can't handle huge price swings, if you couldn't handle this stock selling down 5 to even 10% in a single day, I'd advise you stay away. But if you can handle volatility and you want to take part in the AI market growth, then investing in a stock that's basically a monopoly could be a pretty good way to do that. So there you go, those are 4 different stocks that basically have 100% total return potential by the year 2029. Again, we did this by taking the average analyst estimate for earnings per share in 2029 and then attempting to provide a more conservative PE ratio. So in reality, I'd argue that the bull case would be even higher than these total return targets. But go ahead and let me know what you think of these 4 stocks in the comments down below. For me personally, I already own UNH and ASML, and I've added shares in the last few months. And like always, if you'd like to get access to the ticker data add-on in Google Sheets that allows you to automatically import stock financials straight into your spreadsheet, then you can head over to tickerdata.com at the link in the description. So with all that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.